chicken and dumplings. Oh, the very words. For me, it's the ultimate comfort food. So, grab your apron, get inspired, and let's make something incredibly comforting together. Today, from the Dewey Kitchen. Now, I've never known a gathering where chicken and dumplings was not welcome on the menu. And there are lots of different ways of making it, but we're going to keep ours pretty simple because in its simplest form, chicken and dumplings are just delicious. This recipe can be easily doubled, so if you have a large family or feeding a large group of friends, you can easily make enough for everyone. Here are all the ingredients that you'll need to make some great chicken and dumplings. For the chicken broth, you'll need 1 stick of butter, 1 large onion, 3 large carrots, and 3 stalks of celery, all of which have been diced, 8 cups of low sodium chicken broth, and salt and pepper to taste. For the dumplings, you'll need 2 cups all-purpose flour plus extra for dusting, 1/3 cup shortening, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 3/4 cup milk, 1/2 teaspoon salt, and some optional ingredients include pepper, sage, poultry seasoning, cayenne pepper, or any other combination of your favorite seasonings. Okay, here we are at the stove, ready to get our chicken and dumplings going. Now what I've done is I've started by sauteing all of my vegetables together, the carrots, the onions, and the celery, and I've been sauteing that now for a good maybe 10 minutes. We want them to get really nice and cooked, and I think that they are just about ready, looking nice and golden. So we're gonna go ahead and add our chicken broth in. And then we are going to add our chicken. Where do you get your chicken? Well, if you have time, you can certainly boil down an entire chicken and create broth from scratch. Or you can take some chicken breasts and put them into a pressure cooker and boil them that way. Or if you're really pressed for time, just go to the store, buy a roasted chicken, shred it up, and you're done. And that is it for right now. We're gonna let this simmer eventually come to a boiling point, and in the meantime, we're gonna go get our dumplings ready. Okay, while our chicken and our broth are on the stove simmering, we are going to roll out our dumplings. Now there are lots of different ways of making dumplings. Some people take spoonfuls of the dough and just drop it into the broth. Others may use canned biscuits, all of which are valid ways of making the dumplings. However, I have personally found that rolling them out and cutting them into strips creates the creamiest broth in the end for your chicken and dumplings. You'll also notice that I have seasoned the dough with some sage. Now, why not? Get creative. Put your favorite seasonings in there and add a little extra flavor to your dumplings. Now I've got all of our dry ingredients here in the bowl. We're just going to add our Crisco, and I'm going to jump in here with my hands. I'm going to start working this Crisco here into the dough. And then I'm going to start by adding my milk very, very slowly. I'm not going to add it all at once. I'm going to let the dough kind of come together on its own here. I'm going to use the spoon at first just to get that mixture going here. You might not need all the milk that's called for, so you want to add it just a little bit at a time. And I think that that is looking very nice. I'm going to go ahead and roll this out. I'm going to flour my surface generously. And then I'm going to flour the top and the bottom very generously. We don't want any of this sticking here. And then we're just going to roll this out. This is a very easy dough to roll out. It's not hard at all, and again, it shouldn't be sticky. We're going to roll it out pretty thin. It does not need to be thick. These will hopefully puff up when they hit the hot broth. So just roll it out to be nice and thin, maybe, what is that, 1/8 of an inch, I think, maybe, somewhere along in there. Very easy. Try to roll out all the thick spots there. And now here's the easy part. It doesn't matter how you cut these. They don't have to look perfect. They don't have to be any certain width. It is a little better, I think, if you get them a little longer as opposed to short. And we're just going to do this. Just going to cut here. You could do this with a knife too. That's it. I'm going to cut them in nice long strips here. And that is it. I'm going to put them on a plate over here. Just lift them up. Get them ready to go. You might want to flour if you're going to set some on top of each other here so that they don't stick together. And that is it. We're going to head back over to the stove, and our broth should be good and boiling by now, and we are going to start the process of layering our dumplings into the broth. Catch you in a minute. Okay, we've come back to the stove, and as you can see, while we were preparing our dumplings, our broth has come to a nice boil. Now we're going to start layering on our dumplings. Don't rush this part. We're just going to do 2 or 3 at a time. We're going to lay them on top, and we're going to let them cook for a while. Then we're going to add another 2 or 3, and we're not going to stir this until all of our dumplings have laid on top of one another and have had a chance to start really releasing their spices and releasing the flours, so that eventually we will make a lovely cream broth around these dumplings. So let's get started. We're just going to start with just a couple. Lay them right on top like that. They'll sink, and that's perfectly fine. And we're just going to leave it for a little while. And as you can see, eventually what happens is they start floating right back up to the surface as they begin to cook and as they begin to release the flour into the mixture. Okay, I think we're probably ready to add a few more. Again, we're just going to now lay these on top of these. Right like this. And let them just sit there. And now let's add another layer right on top of those. And finally, we're going to add our last layer here, popping them right on top. And that is it. That's all there is to do. Now we're going to turn down the flame a little bit. We're going to walk away, and we're going to let this cook down for a good 30 to 45 minutes. And then we're going to return. We're going to give it a good stir. and then we're going to taste it and correct any seasonings that we may want to do. And then we'll be back to see how our chicken and dumplings turned out. Catch you on the other side. Okay, our chicken and dumplings have been cooking for about a good 40 to 45 minutes now. And as you can see, it has thickened up. It's turned a beautiful color. Let's give it a taste. That is just so delicious. The chicken, the carrots, the celery, everything works. The dumplings are very tender, and because we season them, they are also very flavorful. It is the ultimate comfort food. So if you enjoyed today's episode, do me a favor and hit subscribe, and we'll let you know when the next episode is coming out, and we'll see you next time on From the Dewey Kitchen. If you tried this recipe, great job, and we want to know how it turned out. So send a photo of your results to ITriedIt@FromTheDeweyKitchen.com, and maybe you'll be featured on the next episode.